It takes intention to show up, to stand shoulder to shoulder, and to say with your presence that something matters. This is not just a moment, it is a movement. Yeah, hell yeah! It is a call to action. This gathering exists because community cares deeply. And while there are far too many of you to thank, friends, neighbors, individuals, organizers, we can't name you all, but we thank you because every ounce of support, every shared message, every conversation brought us here today, together in community. We're here together for no kings. A simple idea with a powerful meaning. We're here because we believe in dignity, in accountability, and in a future that belongs to all of us, not just a select few. We are here because we know that our voices matter, especially when they rise together like they do today. Over the next 2 hours, I know it's cold. Over the next 2 hours, we will stand in peaceful protest. What kind of protest? Peaceful. You said it. That is not just a guideline, it's a commitment. We believe in nonviolence, in our words and in our actions, not because it is easy, but because it is powerful. What is nonviolence? It is powerful. Listen to that. Doesn't that sound good? Let's see. We see counter-protesters regularly. Those counter-protesters are desperate for our attention, but we're not going to give it to them. There may be moments that emotions get high, but we do not give in. When we encounter opposition, I ask you to stay grounded. Do not engage with counter-protesters, no matter how tempting it may be. Our power is in our unity, our numbers, our clarity, and our refusal to be pulled away from our purpose. Today is about community. It's about sharing what it looks like when people come together, not in anger alone, but in hope, in resolve, in a shared belief. Today, we are going to ask more of you. We're going to ask you to take action. We've invited community partners that join us today at their tables. They came with an ask. They need something from us. So when you go home today, you will have a plan for what you as an individual are going to do next. Right? Because we're all going to do something next. That's right. We have an incredible program for you today, filled with dynamic speakers from within our own community, people who are already making meaningful impact in so many ways. You're going to hear music that reflects the spirit of this movement, because protest is not only resistance, it is also expression, it is connection, it is vision, and it is joy. So sing along today. Take a moment, take a breath. Look around you. This is what collective action in community looks like. So thank you. We're going to begin by inviting a very special guest, Ami, up to the microphone for our Indigenous land acknowledgement. Ami Nicole Snyder-Ledwell is a Maynard resident and neighbor for almost 20 years, an artist, a teacher, a storyteller of Wampanoag descent. Her work connects us to the New England Native peoples of the past and today. Please give a warm welcome to Ami. Ami.
Katapaton tamawa shmanat wachi yua wanikisuk. Katapatonamu. Natasuis Ami Ledwell Masapi Wapanaak. Thank you, Creator, for this good day. Thank you all for being here. Yeah. My name is Ami Ledwell. I am Mashpee Wampanoag. I am native to Massachusetts, to Kuapanakik, the Dawn Land. Before our land acknowledgement, I want to share some pieces of U.S. history that you may not be aware of. A land acknowledgement can seem empty without proper context and actions that can be taken to restore balance. As settlers rebranded the Dawn Land to New England, they coveted land. So officials introduced a terrible twist to incentivize gruesome acts of violence. The government would pay settlers cash for every scalp brought to Boston and other outposts. Their reward? About $12,000 in today's dollars. That's just for the scalp of a man. Half as much for a woman's scalp, and a bit less for the scalp of a child. It was nearly as much as a soldier would earn in 2 years. Many bounty hunters were granted land that the people who were scalped were on. Thousands and thousands of acres. Many scalpers founded towns named after themselves. Shirley and Spencer, Massachusetts, are 2 examples. On December 26, 1862, 38 Dakota men were publicly hung in Mankato, Minnesota. This mass execution, ordered by President Abraham Lincoln, is the largest mass execution in U.S. history. In the 1930s, the Mount Rushmore National Memorial was carved into the granite face of the Lakota mountainside called Six Grandfathers. The sculptor, Gutzon Borglum, named it Shrine to Democracy. It now costs $10 to visit that sculpture that desecrated the Lakota sacred site. In 1978, a year a lot of you probably remember, the American Indian Religious Freedom Act was passed, allowing my people, the first people here, freedom of religion in this country that was nominally founded to provide religious freedom. When I was in the 5th grade and wrote a paper about my people for school, my classmates here in Massachusetts told me that I was extinct. In 2007, the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe was federally recognized. I was 32. If you think Indigenous harm is in the past, it is not. And it impacts every human on Earth, as Indigenous people are the caretakers, stewards of the Earth. What to do? I truly believe that generational joy is the antidote to generational trauma. And how do we find that joy? Lift Indigenous voices. Teach Native culture. Teach real history. Build community with Indigenous people. Engage in reparations. Yeah. When we know better, we do better. Now, I'd like to bring your attention to the Massachusetts Indigenous Legislative Agenda, which is an Indigenous-led coalition that is pushing for 5 critical bills that will protect Native heritage, improve education, and end outdated racist practices such as abolishing Columbus Day and removing Native mascots. In Maynard, we have the important opportunity to vote in support of one of these critical bills to change the Massachusetts flag and seal. The The current Massachusetts flag and seal reflect a history of violence and misrepresentation of Indigenous people. That imagery continues to cause harm. The bill supports replacing these symbols with ones that better represent respect, inclusion, and shared aspirations among all residents of the Commonwealth. The resolution will be voted on by the town at town meeting on May 18th and calls on state legislators to support the Advisory Commission's work and advocate for adopting a new flag and seal. There's a table over there. David Detmold is at it, and you can find more information about this resolution and about the bill and this essential work. So lastly, our land acknowledgement. Land acknowledgement roots in the Indigenous history of giving gratitude for the land that we are born on and will go back to, the land that is us. This land that we stand on was stolen, taken by force or coercion from the Nipmuc people. The Nipmuc are still here, fighting for stewardship of this land. I ask that you honor this land, whether you are native to it or from another place. We honor the land because it is precious, because our ancestors honored this land and gave gratitude for it, speaking to the four directions, above, below, and within. 10,000 years ago, we were here, giving thanks for the plants and animals. 1,000 years ago, we were here, giving thanks for the hills and forests, rivers and oceans. 400 years ago, when the colonists came to the Dawnland, we were here, giving thanks for good food and clean water. And we are still here today, giving thanks for the sky and the stars, the sun and the moon. We are here, raising our children and honoring and burying our dead, just as our ancestors did. We are here, and we give thanks to Creator for this sacred land we stand upon. Katapatun tamawash manat wachi yua wani kisuk. Katapatanamu. Thank you.
Love, not hate. That's what makes America great. Love, not hate. That's what makes America great.
Love, not hate. That's what makes America great. Love, not hate. That's what makes America great. Love, not hate. That's what makes America great.
Thank you guys. We know you can't hear us in the back, so I figure you can't even hear me saying this, but that's why we're raising the speakers. We want you to hear us in the back. I see someone in a very yellow hat in the back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me there in the yellow hat? Yeah, you can hear me, all right. Let's give it up for all the youth that are here, all the young people. Thank you for being here. We love having you here. Yeah, you, that's right, that's right. We love having you here. I like that new haircut too, looking good. We love having the youth here. All right, I'm glad you can hear us in the back. We have some pretty special guests here that I'm excited to welcome. You may have heard of them. Jared and Lori Berezin are the founders of Bearing Witness at ICE and are leading, yeah, you heard of them? I think so. And for those who haven't, I'm going to tell you all about them. Jared and Lori have been leading, they're founded and are leading Bearing Witness at ICE, a powerful movement for justice and human dignity. What started out as a small, determined gathering outside an ICE detention facility in Burlington has grown into a weekly rally of hundreds, standing up for immigrants' rights. The Berezins are there week after week to bear witness to the injustice to lift up the voices of those detained and to demand accountability from a government that too often turns a blind eye. Let's give an amazing Maynard and community welcome to the Bearsons.
Thank you so much. We're so grateful to be here with you today. I want to tell you about someone who was detained at the ICE facility in Burlington, just up the road. Makengo is a 46-year-old husband and father and has no criminal record. 8 years ago, Makengo took his wife took the brave step to flee violence in Angola and seek asylum in the U.S. They have followed the lawful asylum process, and they live in Maine, where Makengo works at an assisted living facility supporting people with Alzheimer's disease. In January, Makengo's wife went into labor and required an emergency C-section. She gave birth to their fourth child, a baby girl, who would remain in the hospital's neonatal intensive care unit. One day, Makengo left the hospital to go home and get some items for his family. His wife and children would not see him again for 4 weeks. While driving back to the hospital to be with his family, 2 SUVs surrounded Makengo's car. 6 ICE agents got out, pointed their guns at him, shackled him, and put him in a van with 10 other people. They drove him to the Burlington, Mass. ICE facility where Makengo was imprisoned for 6 days in a crowded cell with 45 other men in a building that is not zoned for overnight detention. At this facility, there are no beds, so he slept on a cold concrete floor. There are no windows or outdoor time, so he never saw daylight. There are no clocks, no showers, no soap, no medicine. Hardly any food or water is provided. The lights are always on, and a single toilet sits exposed in the cell with a video camera mounted above. No visitors are allowed, so Makengo was entirely cut off from his family. ICE did not provide a reason why Makengo was abducted or imprisoned. ICE did not give him a court hearing. ICE did not allow him to meet with an attorney. After 6 days in the cruel and inhumane Burlington facility, Makengo was shackled and driven to Plymouth County Correctional. 4 weeks after his abduction, Makengo was finally released on a $2,000 bond. He's now back home with his wife and children, but he has a court hearing in May because ICE remains hell-bent on deporting him. When immigrants like Makengo follow the rules, they are still abducted, detained, and denied their constitutional rights. But when immigration attorneys challenge these illegal detentions in court, ICE loses. Over the past year, 160 judges across 50 courts have ruled in 350 cases that detaining an immigrant living in the U.S. without a hearing is illegal and in violation of their Fifth Amendment rights to due process. In 350 cases, judges have ruled against ICE. But what are a few hundred cases for an agency that abducts tens of thousands of people who have no legal representation? In Massachusetts, since January 2025, ICE has abducted 6,000 of our neighbors. More than 3,000 people, including 100 children, were held in Burlington for 4 to 77 days at a time. As we stand here today, more than 70,000 adults and children are imprisoned in concentration camps across the U.S. These numbers will only increase. A government agency that violates the Constitution and human rights, that terrorizes our communities, that abducts, imprisons, and murders people should not exist in America. Any reforms to ICE will not be enforced, can be undone by a future president, another obedient Congress, and a partisan Supreme Court. ICE must be abolished.
And just in case the king in the White House or the princes and princesses in Congress are listening, I just want to repeat what Lori said. a government agency that violates the Constitution and human rights, that terrorizes our communities, that abducts, imprisons, and murders people should not exist in America. Government-led violence against immigrants has always been a tragic part of our nation and a part of Massachusetts history as well. In the mid-1800s, during the famine in Ireland, millions emigrated to the U.S. and many came to our state. Here in Maynard, Irish men, women, and children were among the first to work in the Assabet woolen mill, which was founded in 1847 by Amory Maynard, whose ancestors emigrated from England. In the mill, Irish immigrants soon worked alongside Finns, Poles, Lithuanians, Russians, Italians, Swedes, Norwegians, and Danes. During this time, half of all residents in Maynard were immigrants. This increased the population, expanded the tax base, and spawned new development that was used to justify incorporating as a town in 1871 using land from Stowe and Sudbury. Without immigrants, there would be no town of Maynard. But the arrival of Irish refugees also sparked a massive anti-immigrant movement, and a new political party emerged to capitalize on this hatred. They called themselves the American Party. Others called them the Know-Nothing Party. Their goals were to deport all immigrants, ban them from running for office, and prevent naturalized citizens from voting. In 1854, Massachusetts elected a Know-Nothing governor. Every state senator was from the Know-Nothing Party, and all but 3 state reps were Know-Nothings. With total control over Massachusetts politics, state leaders made it illegal in Massachusetts for anyone born outside the U.S. to serve in the police force or in any state government job. Our legislature even voted to remove a Latin inscription from the State House because it wasn't written in English. There was already a law on the books in Massachusetts that gave judges the right to deport poor people deemed a burden on the state. So Massachusetts authorities used this law to deport dozens of Irish immigrants living here, including a young mother and her 3-week-old baby, forcing them onto a ship at Boston Harbor and sending them back to Ireland. During elections that year, armed members of the Know-Nothing Party stood outside polling places. They harassed and beat people, vandalized houses of worship, and committed murder. During this time of widespread scapegoating and violence against immigrants, there was a lawyer from Illinois who was deeply disturbed by what was happening. That lawyer's name was Abraham Lincoln. Fearing that the Know-Nothings would soon gain control of the White House, Lincoln wrote this in a letter to a friend, quote, "As a nation, we began by declaring all men are created equal. We now practically read it, all men are created equal except blacks. When the Know-Nothings get control, it will read, all men are created equal except blacks and foreigners and Catholics. When it comes to this, I should prefer emigrating to some country where they make no pretense of loving liberty, to Russia, for instance, where despotism can be taken pure and without the base alloy of hypocrisy." The anti-immigrant violence is what brought Lincoln back into politics and motivated him to run for president. 170 years later, after he wrote that letter, we're now bearing witness to the nightmare he envisioned. All branches of our government are united by xenophobia and lawlessness, while the military, police, and private sector provide support and complicity. The Know-Nothings eventually lost power in Massachusetts because the issue of slavery divided their base. And right now, the fight to protect our immigrant neighbors is the central moral issue that will determine the fate of our nation. The history of our country, the history of Massachusetts, the history of Maynard, and the personal history that brings each of you here today is important in this nonviolent resistance. For me, I'm an American because my ancestors fled pogroms, and the only two relatives of mine who survived the Holocaust came here as refugees. They had no money, no papers, no visas, no passports. They spoke no English. Today, they would undoubtedly be denied entry into this country. And if they somehow found another way to come here, they would be called criminal illegal aliens. They would be hunted, abducted, and deported. Every opportunity I have is because of immigration, not despite it, and it's because I love America that I want today's immigrants to become the ancestors of future Americans.
Whatever path brings you to this struggle, whether your ancestors emigrated to this country, were brought here in chains, or are indigenous to this land, whatever your beliefs are about any other political issues, we are all here together because we know the difference between right and wrong. And for those of us who are U.S.-born citizens, we must use our privilege to stand where our immigrant neighbors cannot and speak the words that they are rightly afraid to speak. We gather outside the Burlington ICE office each week to show our support for immigrants and our shame at ICE agents, and have done so peacefully for the past 49 weeks. If your schedule allows, we hope you can join us to bear witness at 1000 District Avenue in Burlington on any upcoming Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. But whatever action you take, whether protesting in public, pressuring elected leaders, supporting pro-immigrant groups, or organizing a neighborhood meeting to plan how your street will support your immigrant neighbors, we need you in this fight. In this moment, regardless of your age or profession, each of us must do more than we think we're capable of doing. Let's honor the immigrants who built this country and who built this town by standing up for the rights of everyone. Thank you.
They're doing it, guys. They're doing it. I shouted out the young people, but this whole movement would be nothing without our older citizens. Am I right? Let's give a round of applause for all the older folks that are making this happen. You've been here before, and you're teaching us how to do it. Thank you for that. We appreciate you, because with no justice, there's no peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. Let me hear you. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. This power is getting to my head. Watch out. No kings. No kings. I'd like to welcome a couple more special guests that are taking action, and it's very inspiring. Coming up next are Reverend Dr. Cindy Landrum and Interim Minister Trek Reef. They're of the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton. You may know that church. I think there's a lot of people here from that church. That's right. So they went to Minneapolis. I think you've heard of that place. And will speak about their experience of community and resistance following violence against peaceful protesters. They went all the way to Minneapolis to bring us back some stories and share what they went through. Please welcome, real loud, Cindy and Trek.
Wow, this is quite a congregation. Like we were introduced, my name is Trek. Wow, this is a great crowd. I want to share a little bit about our time in Minneapolis. When we were first given the call, clergy in Minneapolis were asking for clergy from around the country to show up, and it felt a little bit like learning what we learned about the clergy call heading to Selma. And there was a lot of allusions to that in the call. There were about 650 or so of us that showed up in one particular version of the call, a second from an organization called March. A second organization in Minneapolis called Isaiah brought in another approximately same number of clergy as well. When we were brought in, we really thought we were going to be there to help back up our clergy colleagues who were there, who obviously were exhausted, tired, and really needed some backup. But what we learned when we were there was that we weren't really there to help them. They were there and asking us to be there so that we could learn from them and to learn what it would look like here, not if, but when the federal government decided to continue breaking laws in our Commonwealth.
While Trek and I were there in Minneapolis, the day before Alex Preddy was killed, we took a pilgrimage. We took a pilgrimage to go first to the George Floyd Memorial, where George Floyd was killed by police violence. And then to go from that to the Renee Good Memorial, where Renee Good was killed by ICE violence. And as we made that pilgrimage, it was clear how these two events are not unrelated. The interconnection of all acts of state violence and vigilante violence. So as we went to the George Floyd Memorial, as we were standing there talking with the people of that community about how they are impacted by ICE, ICE had a presence there, just parked down the street, watching, observing, waiting, seeing who they were going to grab next at the George Floyd Memorial. And then we went from there just a few blocks away to the Renee Good Memorial, where Renee Good had been killed by ICE, and we saw police were gathered and in conflict with the members of that neighborhood. Police there at the Renee Good Memorial, terrorizing the communities. And as we heard the people on both sides, and there were Native Americans at both sites, keeping the peace, smudging the place, trying to protect the sacredness of both spaces. And they told us, we are all related. In the Lakota language, we are all related. And it was clear that the work against oppression, the work against ICE, the work against police violence, the work against racism, misogyny, sexism, transphobia, it is all related. In that community that has been terrorized by ICE from its creation, and it's been terrorized by state violence since the founding, where they drove the Native Americans off the land and started the Native American boarding schools to erase the culture, we recognize the interconnectedness of all oppression, and how when we know that we are all related, the justice will deepen.
We were taught Metikuye Oyasin. We are all related in the Lakota language. All of us. Take a look around. No, seriously, look around, not just at me. Look around. You are related to every single being you see here. You're related to these trees. In just that same way, misogyny and transphobia and anti-immigrant rhetoric, the xenophobia, the anti-blackness in this world, all of it is also interconnected and interrelated. It's also multi-layered. We protest here today, all of us, because we know that some way we are connected to all of this too. But we also know that being here today in this space is not the only way for us to remain connected. Today, we stand together, we be together, we roll together, we sit together in this space. But tomorrow's the day that we pump our breast milk for our neighbors whose child's mother has been kidnapped by ICE. Tomorrow is the day we take doors and we keep them in our basements and in our sheds, prepared for the day when ICE breaks down somebody's door. And why do I bring those two specific things up? because the neighborhoods of Minneapolis were so interconnected that indeed mothers were pumping their breast milk to feed the children whose mothers were kidnapped and deported. I hope that's visceral enough. It was so powerfully for me. Doors were saved by neighbors so that they could repair the doors in negative 22-degree weather as ice broke down their doors, leaving them cold, and landlords who wanted nothing to do with helping the people living in their homes.
Hey, Trek, is this really just about immigration?
No.
What's it about?
It's ethnic cleansing. That's right. One of the things that we realized was that this is all a part of ethnic cleansing. And it's not even just an ethnic cleansing of immigrants.
No.
It's an ethnic cleansing of our transgender and non-binary neighbors. It's an ethnic cleansing of sorts of all of the women in our lives. Yes. They are trying to erase our collective power by ticking us off one group of people at a time, hoping that the rest of us won't notice. Are we interested in this kind of ethnic cleansing here?
First, they came for the immigrants and the trans people, and then they came for all of us, because we are all related. So not everyone here is called to be someone who goes out there and gets arrested. And not everyone is meant to be someone who can be in the streets confronting the ICE officers and blowing their whistles. But each of us is called to act from today forward in whatever way we can against this systematic oppressive violence. After the protests today, we need people on all sorts of levels of action. We need people to stay in the work of justice and the work of community support. We need people who can push our legislators to take actions and stop actions. And we need people who can raise money for BJAN, the Boston Immigrant Justice Accompanying Network, and its Beyond Bond Fund to help people with immigrants, or to help our immigrants with legal fees and support.
A quick show of hands. How many people here have ever been to the State House? Great. Have many of you were at the State House to do lobbying specifically? All right. If you have your hand up, leave it up for a second. If you don't have your hand up, take a look around for the people whose hands are up. Those are your new friends. They will help you understand what it means to go lobbying at the State House.
Or lobby online.
Or lobby online. To lobby in any way that you can. However you can show up. There are a number of lobby days that you can participate in to make sure that, for example, we pass the Native American agenda. To pass additional laws to protect our trans and non-binary neighbors, to pass laws that protect them from the evil being perpetuated in other states and by the federal government, and also protecting all of the people who need to access reproductive care, which is now becoming illegal in other states as well.
One of our colleagues, one of our UU colleagues in Minneapolis, when she got to her Airbnb, she found a gift baggie on her door. So for those of you who think that's too much to do going into Boston and lobbying, here's something you can do right here in your community. She found a little gift bag on her door and it had cookies. She thought, oh, what a nice neighborly gift. And she opened it and found, no, it had a whistle. And it had a Know Your Rights card. And it had information for how to resist ICE violence if you're someone under attack and how to help if you're an ally. Is that something you can do? Take little gift bags to your neighbors? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know it's against, I'm a Midwesterner, and I know it's a little bit against New England culture to be super friendly, but this you can do anonymously. You can drop and run.
And I would like to push you past your anonymity as a native New Englander. I want you to again take a look around. The people standing next to you, is there someone you don't know standing next to you right now? I would like you to take just a moment of the time we have here to introduce yourself real quick to that person. Go ahead.
This is what it's like to be at our church.
Hi.
Yes.
Dan, nice to meet you.
And once you have at least one person's name, I want you to try to remember it.
It might be on YouTube.
Now,
Where are you from? I live here. Yeah, go.
after today's protest, when we are finished being here on the Union Common, I would like you to exchange information with this new person you've just met. They're your new friend too. I would like you also to decide with that person not if, but when you're going to get together for a meal. I'm not even kidding. At the end of the day, the relationships we build following this event today are the relationships that save one another and save our nation.
Let's skip the next bit because I want to end on that note. Whatever your strengths, whatever your gifts you bring, whatever level you're able to imagining fighting this rising tide of fascism at, there is something that you can do in this struggle for human rights and for freedom. And so as we move from protest to action, I want to share these favorite words of mine by the poet Adrienne Rich. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. That's what we're here to tell you. Our would-be king is destroying as much as he can, as fast as he can, and we, the people of Maynard and Hudson and Marlborough and Stowe and Acton and Boxborough and all the towns, Sudbury, all the towns around, we have to cast our lots together with our extraordinarily ordinary powers, and group together we can and we will reconstitute the world. We will save the world for freedom and for humanity.
Can I get an amen for Rev. Cindy? Thank you all for being here, and thank you for being a blessing in this world. Continue to do that blessing. Thank you.
We want to hear you do a little chant for us as we go off the stage here. Repeat after me. Do justice.
Do justice.
Love kindness.
Love kindness.
Abolish ICE.
Abolish ICE.
And together, do justice. Love kindness. Abolish ICE.
In the spirit of doing something, I want to acknowledge our wonderful partners here today that came out, brought their own tables, brought their own tents, and all of them came with an ask. All these tables along here need your help. Please, I know because it's such a big crowd, it's hard to see them, but make your way over there during the day today and offer to help them. They need us right now, and we all can do something, right? I'd like to welcome, is this your first performance ever? In their debut performance. Well, first let me say, in the LGBTQ plus community, we like to say joy is an act of resistance. So it's okay to feel some joy, and in that spirit, their debut, the Maynard Freedom Singers!
All right. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. Fascism ain't gonna let fascism turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let fascism turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. Trump's cronies ain't gonna let let Trump's cronies turn me around. Ain't gonna let him turn me around. Ain't gonna let him turn me around. Ain't gonna let Trump's cronies turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. Persecution ain't gonna let persecution turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let persecution turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. War fever ain't gonna let war fever turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. I ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let war fever turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. Oppression ain't gonna let oppression turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let oppression turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. Now hum it for me. Okay, y'all, they're humming now. Anybody got something else that they want to call out that we should be singing about right now? Anybody? Trans hatred. Ah, perfect. Trans hatred. Ain't gonna let trans hatred turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let it turn me around. Ain't gonna let trans hatred turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Ain't gonna let him turn me around. Ain't gonna let him turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. Now you know it, sing. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Ain't gonna let him turn me around. Ain't gonna let him turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking down the freedom road. Yeah. So let me just say that everything we're doing today should be something that you can sing along to. We are just the choir, but we would be so delighted if our choir was made 100 times louder by all of you. So please, please sing if you know the songs. Sing a harmony, sing anything. And if you think you can't sing, you're wrong. If you'd like to be a part of our choir, we do have a sign-up sheet over at the Indivisible table. We'd love anybody who loves to sing to join us. All right. Key of A, where are we? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious we have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home. When we have been 10,000 years bright and shining like the sun. We have no less place to sing about God's praise as when we first begun. Let me hear you now, 100 more. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. Thank you. All right. We're getting warming ourselves up with singing. Doesn't that feel good? It's cold out here. All right. This is a song called "We Shall Not Be Moved." How many people out here know it? Yeah. All right. So it just goes, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water, we shall not be moved. Please sing with us. All right? Whoop, whoop. You're not supposed to do that. Here we go. Everybody sings. Here we go. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Freedom is our captain. Freedom is our captain. We shall not be moved. Freedom is our captain. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. We shall not be moved. We're on our way to glory. We're on our way to glory. We shall not be moved. We're on our way to glory. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Let me hear you. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. We shall not be later for some more. Get your voices warmed up.
Please give it up for the Maynard Freedom Singers. Oh my gosh, that was incredible.
It's my honor to introduce a leader who fights for justice, equity, and every voice being heard. State Senator Jamie Eldridge. He stands strong for immigrants' rights, criminal justice reform, and fair housing, and reminds us all this is not our country's direction. Let's give a huge welcome to Senator Jamie Eldridge.
Good evening, everyone. In my notes this morning, I was saying good morning to Littleton. I just said good afternoon to Acton. And now I say good evening to Maynard and say to you all, this is the biggest No Kings rally I've attended today. Congratulations. It is truly amazing how this has become a meeting place, not just for people from Maynard, but from the whole Assabet Valley region. And I want to thank Indivisible Maynard for organizing today's No Kings rally at Veterans Memorial Park. Liz, please give the organizers a warm round of applause. I just think here in Maynard, all of the social justice protests, residents gathering together to work towards building an all-electric new elementary school, more affordable housing, and providing more supports for those who live in the shadows of society in our communities. Maynard, you are truly a compassionate, caring community. Thank you so much for what you do. Today, there will have been more than 3,100 No Kings demonstrations across America. And as important as the rallies are in our capital cities, including for what I hear hundreds of thousands of people in Boston, it is equally important for rallies in small towns across the U.S. to send a clear message to President Trump and his corrupt sycophants that we are absolutely sick and disgusted with how you are destroying this country. It was less than a year ago when many of us attended the first No Kings rallies 6 months into Donald Trump's second term. It is difficult to fully comprehend and quantify the constitutional, human, economic, and community damage the Trump-Vance administration has wrought on the United States, especially in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, where both government and the people strive to provide the most opportunity, security, and quality of life for every single resident. And despite our nation's flaws, we have always been a beacon of hope, a land of equal protection, a vision of economic mobility and progress, and a land where people from across the world dream of coming here. Yet in the Varieties of Democracy Institute, based in Sweden's Democracy Report on America that was just released, the United States slipped from 24th to 51st place in the rankings of countries' democratic attributes. The report notes democracy in the United States is deteriorating at an unprecedented speed. The level of democracy for the average citizen is at its lowest level in over 50 years. Civil rights and equality before the law, freedom of expression, and media are now at their lowest levels in 60 years. In other words, we are talking about the level of equal protection and due process being downgraded so low We're getting back to the era of legalized racial discrimination that the civil rights movement had just dismantled. And yet, despite this sobering news, in a nation engaged in an illegal war with an economy that is sputtering, our immigrant family members, friends, and neighborhoods getting swept off the streets and stolen from their homes, and rank corruption spreading every day in our federal government, I truly have to say, standing here today, looking out at all of you, I have great hope, inspiration, and a feeling that a majority of America has woken up to what is at stake, and more Americans are willing to fight back. That started in Massachusetts. Thank you for your leadership in leading this effort. Against the elite that are ransacking our government for their private gain, no matter how much suffering the 99% endure. Against the racist, xenophobic, sexist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, militant MAGA crowd that only seeks to drive up hate, distrust, fear, and violence, and sow division. And against the corporate bigwigs who, if they are not licking the feet of Donald Trump, by their inactions are setting themselves up to end in hell for maintaining their neutrality in this time of great moral crisis. My sense of optimism is not just based on public opinion, who show just how unpopular this creeping authoritarianism is to most Americans, but the kind of actions happening on the streets, in our town halls, and state capitals that are bringing fresh ideas and legislation to combat a federal government that is attacking us each and every day. On immigration, one of the few issues where voters initially trusted Donald Trump more, the resistance in Los Angeles, Minnesota, and Chicago, and in Massachusetts with groups like Luce, has transformed this state violence into an albatross around Donald Trump's neck. Immigrant support groups have not just helped protect hundreds of thousands of immigrant families, but it's moved a majority of Americans to not just disapprove of the no-Mullen mass deportation tactics, but help pass legislation to protect our immigrant neighbors. It has woken people up to the reality that immigration is actually good for our country, and that particularly here in Massachusetts, the fate of our Commonwealth depends on becoming a more welcoming state. On health care, Republican efforts to gut millions of Americans Medicaid has moved more and more people to recognize the flaws in our private, for-profit health care system. You're seeing legislation to better support primary care physicians, more unionization of healthcare professionals, greater appreciation for our public health boards and boards of health, and a growing movement to bring universal health care as a right through the states. On climate, Massachusetts has led the effort to not just take legal action against the Trump administration's efforts to stop offshore wind, but maintain our state's commitment to meeting our carbon emissions reductions goals. With more Americans realizing, perhaps with the aid of our current Middle Eastern military conflict, that depending on fossil fuels is not just more expensive, but bad for our national security. More communities, residents, and businesses are embracing solar, geothermal, hydroelectric, and offshore wind to improve reliability, lower energy costs, and do their part to combat climate change, including right here in Maynard. And you're seeing these new ideas and energy carry over into electoral politics. Across Massachusetts, we are seeing more people run for public office from more diverse backgrounds, challenging the status quo and championing issues that have far too long been collecting dust on a shelf. I encourage you here tonight to think about channeling some of your organizing and protest energy into supporting progressive candidates for election and re-election to turn more of these great new ideas into policies that help everyday residents. So you all look incredible, and I just want to say we stand together to say no kings. But like 250 years ago, we cannot just resist a king. We must be bold in our ideas, our organizing, and our political will to take the courageous next steps to make our communities, our Commonwealth, and our country an even better place for all of us to live in. I'm so honored to represent this region. Thank you for having me speak once again. Keep it up. No kings. Thank you.
We just heard a Jamie for president. Now we're talking. If only, right? These are our streets. Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
Whose streets?
Our streets.
I like it. I like it. We're going to keep you warm.
Hi everybody, my name is Jen and I live in Maynard, and I have the pleasure to welcome retired U.S. Army Sergeant Brian Winter, an Operation Iraqi Freedom Global War on Terror veteran. Brian is a self-taught software engineer. He's also a speaker and writer for Mass 5051, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to defending our Constitution and denouncing tyranny. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, folks, I just like the podium.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Testing. Hello, hello, all right. Thank you, Maynard, for that warm welcome. And let's do a round of applause for Tina and Jay Crawford and the steering committee for Maynard Indivisible for putting this together. This is incredible. As I look out here, what is this, 1,000 people? So that's 1 out of every 10 people in Maynard are here in this field. That's awesome. So give yourself a round of applause, too, for showing up, for caring about your country. Alexander Solzhenitsyn once wrote, "The dividing line between good and evil cuts through the heart of every human being. Who is willing to destroy a piece of his own heart?" Alexander was a Soviet communist and a true believer in its principles. He wrote that phrase in a book about the camps for political prisoners of the Stalinist regime, where he served out a sentence for writing private letters to a friend for criticizing that same regime. He understood intimately what happens to a people when they make deals with an evil force in the name of a cause. He was warning us about the dangers of ideologies, the damage done when a bad idea gains the reverence of religion, when deeply held convictions are questioned by an obviously pathological reality. People do not easily renounce their beliefs. This is why the zealot's fire is so hard to quench, even for Alexander, who languished in the gulags himself. Took years of painful introspection to appreciate the evils that he helped create. Apologies, this podium is not working, so I'm going to skip it.
You got it.
Got to do this old school. The truth that we have gathered here today to contend with is that this administration is only different from the Stalinists by the poor naked fact that they have yet to cement their power and dominion over us all. So we have emerged from the coldest winter, and we defy the desecrations. We are energized and alert to the dangers, and we prepare for them. We have grown as a movement, and we are ready for them. We have, each and every one of us, chosen to stand on the right side of Solzhenitsyn's line. So my name is Brian Winter. I am not wealthy or powerful or wise. I work a normal job. I like video games, books about history, movies about war, and beer. Beer! I am
am an ordinary citizen just like you. I am a veteran of the United States Army, but my career was not distinguished, and I joined mostly for the college money. I am new to politics, and today I am scared about where this country is headed. I spent a month after the election last year myself trying to cross that line on my own. I analyzed my own fears, my own motivations. Did I have it within myself to sacrifice for something greater than myself? Then I made a bet with the future, that if I had the courage to step into that gray, uncertain field, to do something hard that I had never done before, to give the greatest and best measure of my devotion, that the people would rise with me because they see the same troubles. That all of us together could fix that which had been broken in our names. That America can manifest that small measure of indomitable courage needed in our darkest hour.
Amen.
Now I am an unlikely organizer and writer for Mass 5051. We are a nonpartisan, anti-authoritarian organization dedicated to the defense of sacred and ancient American principles. I am not trained in either of those skills. Like all of you, I am learning as I go. I do this because there is in every struggle, political and otherwise, the promise of building something new. We are in a time of great change, and with every danger, there is also opportunity. New institutions, new ideals, new principles. All of this is possible and more if enough of us put away our fears, our doubts, our selfish interests, and do something worth doing with all of our hearts. I cannot tell you how. It is too early in this project. No one can predict the shapes of things to come, and we do not yet know who our leaders will be and how far we will need to go. But I can tell you the why. Human dignity, rule of law, and consent of the governed. These ideals found their birthplace here in this state. We sit no more than an hour's drive from the people and the place that ignited a nation and tilted the world on its axis towards justice. That shining city on a hill can be achieved, with liberty's torch rising from our cold harbors, lighting the path over all the world's walls. Because we are not mere Democrats or Republicans. We are Americans. We are not protesters or activists. We are patriots. This country landed on the moon. This country beat the Nazis like a drum. We can hold Solzhenitsyn's line, and we will. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Our nation's honor, symbols, and ideals are ours to reclaim if we have the courage to take them. We will never have kings in America. Never! Never! No kings! No kings! Never in America! Thank you, Maynard. You people are beautiful.
How do we like the, how's the sound in the back? You can hear me? Is it still too loud? Am I too loud? Am I loud enough? It was a trick question. With an original song, please welcome our friend and neighbor, Renee Pfister.
Hey everybody. I was moved by a minister in Minneapolis who wrote, "Hold fast to love when hate invades. Hold fast to love when cruelty reigns." I'm going to teach you a little part of this to sing at the end. If you could say for me, "Hold fast to love." Hold fast to love. One more time.
Hold
So at the end of this song, hold fast, hold fast, hold fast to love. Sing it with me right now. Hold fast, hold fast, hold fast to love. Beautiful. So when I get to the end of the song, are you ready to sing that?
Yeah.
Cool. We have to hold fast to love as we fight for justice. What can I do about these horrific days? I think about it all the time, wishing I could make a change. If you feel the same, take my hand. We'll lead each other through the darkness if we can. We can be each other's promise, even if we can't get to any promised land. A world of peace and understanding. Well, that seems like that's just a dream. Now why does hate get better branding? Been fighting since humanity began. Some say it's hopeless, others say we're damned. But could we be each other's promise, even if we can't get to any promised land? Hold fast to love in places where hate invades. Hold fast to compassion when cruelty reigns. Hold fast to justice till only peace remains. Until only peace remains. Every day we make a choice to find love in one another. If we take the time to truly see each other, can we be kind, honest? I hope we can. Now, promise to take a stand. We could be each other's promise, even if we can get to any promised land. Hold fast to love in places where hate invades. Hold fast to compassion when cruelty reigns. Hold fast to justice till only peace remains. Till only peace remains. Sing it with me, hold fast to love. Hold fast, hold fast, hold fast to love. Hold fast, hold fast, hold fast to love. Hold fast, hold fast, hold fast to love. A little louder, hold fast, hold fast, hold fast to love. Hold fast, hold fast, hold fast to love. Hold fast, hold fast, hold fast to love.
Great job.
I am thrilled to introduce someone who lives those values every single day, State Representative Kate Hogan. Rep. Hogan is a fierce advocate for fairness, inclusion, and opportunity, always fighting for the people she represents and for a government that works for all of us. Please join me in giving a rousing welcome to Representative Kate Hogan.
Thank you, everybody! Thank you! If you've been out here for an hour, you are truly patriots. You know, hello to everyone. Hello, you love democracy, so I love you. And let me just say one word. Enough. Enough of Trump's twisted policies. Enough ICE raids on innocents in school, at work, and places of worship. Enough weaponizing. Sorry, it's a little windy up here. Enough weaponizing the military and targeting Democrat-led cities. And enough eroding our civil liberties until we stop looking like the America that we love. Your presence here today sends a powerful message. In America, no one is above the law. While Washington may test the limits of executive power, your state legislature has set to work to protect and defend our state, our people, all our people, and here's what your state legislature in Massachusetts is doing. This week, the Massachusetts House passed the PROTECT Act, a generational immigration bill. Let me say that again, a generation immigration bill, and we're not done yet, I am sure. Choosing fairness over fear, the PROTECT Act draws a clear line between local law enforcement and ICE activities, safeguards our courts against civil arrests, and strengthens due process here in Massachusetts. We know that in Trump's second term, ICE agents have continued to harass and disappear innocent Americans with total impunity. A reckless approach that has led to the deaths of innocent Americans and to children being separated from their families. Those actions are Americans living in fear as they go to work and bring their children to school, and they jeopardize the trust that local law enforcement has worked so hard to build. That's why this legislation is so important. Your state legislature has also passed the SHIELD Act 2.0, the strongest protections in the nation for reproductive care. We also ban data sharing with hostile states. We're protecting patients and providers from out-of-state legal threats. Enough, enough, enough. Voting is getting more and more restrictive in other states under Trump. We have expanded and secured access to voting, and as the administration tries to rig electoral maps, Massachusetts passed the Votes Act. Enough! We're defending our climate leadership. When Trump tries to undermine state climate laws, we'll see him in court. Enough! And we're standing with immigrant communities. We will always stand with our immigrant communities, working to achieve the American dream, because you are us and we are America. Immigrants are and will always be our story. Today we honor that story, that vision of America. We stand together, and your legislature stands with her people. And we say clearly, no kings, not now, not ever, enough.
please join me in welcoming John Moses, a retired Army veteran and co-founder of the Mass Afghan Alliance. Drawing on his military experience and deep commitment to justice, John has dedicated himself to supporting Afghan communities in Massachusetts and beyond, advocating for their rights, safety, and well-being.
Thank you, Maynard. First of all, I want to say thank you to Brian. Brian is also a veteran, and all the veterans in the crowd. And I'm going to start off today. Thank you, guys, and thank you for having me. I'm using my phone because earlier my paper blew away, and it was kind of an interesting speech. Before we start, we are in a veterans park, and I'm going to start by saying this: America is at war. And we are going to read the 14 names of the service members that have died in the past several weeks, followed by a brief moment of silence, and then we'll start the speech. Major John Kleiner, Captain Ariana Savino, Technical Sergeant Ashley Pruitt, Captain Seth Koval, Captain Curtis Angst, Technical Sergeant Tyler Simmons, Sergeant Benjamin Pennington, Major Davius Sorfley, Major Jeffrey O'Brien, Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant Declan Cody, Sergeant First Class Nicole Amore, Sergeant First Class Noah Titien, Chief Warrant Officer 3 Robert Marzan. Just a brief moment, please. There we go. At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument is needed. Oh, had I the ability to reach the nation's ear, I would today pour out a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, and the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. And the hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed. And its crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and announced. Frederick Douglass, a founding father in any word, spoke those words in 1852 to an all-white audience on the 4th of July in Rochester, New York, talking about the hypocrisy of 4th of July to a slave. America is at war, and we gather here today on your town green as a community to reflect on what we have lost together. Our children, our grandchildren, and a new generation have again asked to be in sacrifice for a nation again unmoored from its obligations to her people. Yes, go for it. If anybody wants to be a hype person, just feel free. Now that we've had a moment to reflect on the immeasurable loss of those 14 service members, remember that they have served our country with honor and distinction, as Americans always have when called. But the question we must ask ourselves today is simple. Why have we sent our children, our grandchildren, and our neighbors to face danger, to bear the separation from their families? What glorious purpose has our country chosen to sacrifice another generation of Americans to the sword of conquest? Shame. Have we made these choices on our own behalf? No. Or have we made them for a foreign power, unaccountable to any American voter, pursuing an agenda of genocide and global instability? These are not new questions. Americans have asked them before at great cost and written the answers down for us to find. The 12th grievance of the colonies. He has affected to render the military independent and superior to the civil power. Wars without consent. Lives and fortunes taken without a national purpose. In today's world, that means simply this. Our nation has taken direction from foreign powers, and in doing so, has fought to silence the voice of you, the popular sovereigns. Yeah. Shame. After 9/11, many people in this crowd watched as their children volunteered for the noble purpose of protecting our own country. I am one of those children. Brian is one of those children. Many of you are some of those children. And we learned, and we grew, and we fought for a better America despite our country's long march towards the failure of Afghanistan and the promise to our people. Ask yourself, did you choose a war with Iran?
No! Millionaires did.
That's right. In 2002, we were winning in Afghanistan. We had the momentum, the mission, and the moral clarity of a nation, oh, there it is, defending itself. Then we took our eye off the ball. Not because Afghanistan was finished or we had completed our mission, but because people like Benjamin Netanyahu lobbied our government and pushed our attention towards Iraq, toward a war that had nothing to do with the men who attacked on September 11th, and everything to do with the government of Israel's regional ambitions. We paid for those decisions in American blood. 7,000 American service members killed across Iraq and Afghanistan, 30,000 wounded, and a generation of veterans still paying the cost in ways that never make the evening news. Shame. And now we see the same pattern repeated. Before the first strike, before the first missile landed on Iran, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman conducted his own campaign. Weeks of lobbying private citizens, back-channel pressure, private assurances offered to Americans hungry for a deal. Not a partner acting in our interest, a separate foreign power pursuing its own regional ambitions, using the American military might as the instrument. Two governments, two agendas, one America, off track. None of these people are answerable to this crowd, not a single American voter, and yet both had a hand in sending your children and your neighbors' children to a war you never chose. These are not alliances. This is a system which foreign powers compete for influence over American blood, and our leaders let them in.
Shame!
Shame!
Shame! Clap!
Thank you. By the way, I also like beer. The government of Israel I want to be clear, has conducted a campaign of genocide against civilian populations while asking Americans to now fund it, fight it, and die for it. Shame. America has warned us of foreign entanglements since its founding. Little guy named George Washington. I'm surprised some people haven't heard of him. The founders expected our leaders to fight for our causes with the consent of the people through their representatives, not at the direction of foreign governments. And now Iran, with 14 more names, and actually on the way down I heard there's more. There's more casualties. Were read aloud on this screen. I want to speak to you, though, now as not as just a citizen reciting grievances, but as a soldier who believed. Post 9/11, the GWAT generation truly believed we were part of something larger, and that we were told that our service would reshape the world, that we would bring freedom to places that had never seen it, that we would protect our families in our country, so that my children and your grandchildren would never have to go to war for something without meaning or purpose. We believed in the mountains of Afghanistan, in the villages, and in the hard conversations with people who had known nothing but occupation and violence. We built something there that reflected who we were, a force that looked like America, that acted like a kind America, and we represented America. Over the years, we lost focus. The promises made to our veterans of opportunity, of care, and a nation that would be waiting for us to lead grew quieter and quieter until people could no longer hear us. And now, the institutions we've built and the values we bled into service have been leveled without debate, without ceremony, without a single thought. Shame. I know, I kind of go fast, but I know what this cycle costs, and many of my friends do too, and not in the abstract. I lost a friend once to an overdose, a senior enlisted. He had risen through the ranks during the war. He was the kind of leader America needed, capable, committed, decorated, and he came home carrying things he could not talk about. He faced his demons alone, and one day he could not face them anymore. I've stood at other funerals. A soldier that served with me in Afghanistan. He died by suicide, right next to some of his best friends. As a senior ranking soldier, it fell to me to carry his awards to the front of that room and place them in his mother's hands. Over 50 people from Massachusetts flew to Florida where he lived. 50. Men and women who stood beside him, who knew what he carried, who had carried it themselves. And I remember very clearly closing my eyes as I handed this award to his mother. And I could feel the soldiers next to me, and I could hear people crying. And all I could remember was the incredible love that our soldiers brought and carried out and carried to his mother. But it was too much. Shame. Shame! No one said anything as we left. There was nothing left to say. The country had already said everything it was going to say. It started with funding cuts, in closed VA centers, in the suicides and overdoses that never make the evening news, and in the promises that dissolved quietly year after year while people who made them moved on to the next election. Shame. That is the cost. It is not the number. It is not the statistic. It is the silence of a family and a room full of people who loved their son. So what must we do now? These are not the outcomes of a nation acting in its own values. These are the outcomes of a nation that lost its voice, that allowed the hand that paid for the vote to define what America stands for in the world. So let's ask yourselves, who will pay the real price for these policies? The American people, the Jewish people, the Iranian people, and children and children and children all over the world. Who will fill the ranks? The poor, the middle class, Black Americans, brown Americans, and everybody else that doesn't have a future because they have trashed the economy and all of the opportunity. Their children, however, though, will live in peace while your sons and daughters are asked to soak their blood again into the deserts and mountains, leaving only memories for those who remain. Shame. Now here's my ask. We must overwhelm our politicians. Sorry, Senator and Representative. Write letters. Fill out the form online. Tell them how angry you are. With your own voice, tell them how afraid you are. Tell them with our votes. No more votes that benefit foreign powers. No more treasure spent in the service of foreign crowns. No more representatives who answer to Tel Aviv or Riyadh before they answer to you. We must all stand on our morals as soldiers, as parents, and as citizens, and demand a future worthy of the sacrifices that have already been made. The lives of service members are to be handled with the greatest care, and that is not a request, that is a demand. I am a child of war. I deployed because I believe this country is worth the cost, and I have stood at too many funerals. I still believe this country is worth the cost. Yes. And so while I am a child of war, I will not become a father to war. So I'm going to say this: no king now. No king tomorrow. No king forever. My name is Sergeant First Class John Moses, and I'm going to say one more thing. With peace in your hands and love in your heart and the strongest possible voice, give me one more no kings! No kings! Mass 5051, thank you very much.
Are you ready to act? Yeah. You're ready to act? Are you ready to act? We're going to invite invite the Maynard Freedom Singers to sing us out one more time and to warm us up. But what I ask of you is take this energy that you have, this raw, cold energy, and visit the tables over here. They need your time, they need your talent, and they need your money. Please visit them. Whatever you have to give, whether it's money, whether you can sign your name to get on their mailing list, they need you, and the energy you have today, put it into movement. Put it into action. Visit them, please. They've been standing out here in the cold with all of us. Thank you so much for being here today. Sing with us now, the Maynard Freedom Singers.
All right, I know you're freezing. We're all freezing. Are you cold?
Yeah.
You want to move around?
Yeah.
All right. So we have chosen 2 songs from the Minneapolis Resistance to sing us out tonight. We're going to move on this one. We're going to dance on this one. And we are singing it to the ICE agents or anybody else who's on the wrong side of this situation. And we want to say to them that if you've ever had a doubt about what you're doing and what you believe, it's okay to change your mind. Yeah. And if you change your mind, we will not reject you. We will take you in. All right? Yeah. Here we go. Okay. So, the words are, it's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. It's okay to change your mind. And you can join us. You can join us here anytime. All right? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Dance. Leave this behind. Oh, oh, oh. It's okay to change your mind. And you can join us here anytime. Oh, oh, oh. It's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. Oh, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us here anytime. Oh, it's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. Oh, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us here anytime. Everybody loud! Whoa, 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 it's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. Whoa, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us here anytime. One more time with a feeling. It's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. Oh, it's okay to change your mind, and you can join us here anytime. All right, now, if you want to move a little closer, because this last song is also the Resistance Singers. It is called Hold On. It is a lullaby to one another. And I would like to see if you all could find someone to hold a hand with for this next song. So pull forward, get warm, stand together, hold hands. All right? Touch a tree. They're with us today, too. Hold hands. All right? And I'm going to step back here and hold hands, too. All right. Oh, Rena, you got a CT for me? All right, this one goes, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. That's the whole thing. Okay? We can do this. Yeah. We got it. 2, 3, 4. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. Let's hear ya. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. For your ancestors. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. For our neighbors. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. For our children. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. Sing it to yourself. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. One more time. Hold on. Hold on. My dear ones, here comes the dawn. Thank you. Bless you. Did it.
Everyone, thank you so much for coming today and freezing. Go home and have some hot chocolate. But please, if you're interested in the Maynard Indivisible area, there's information on the table, handouts, etc. to become part of us, to join our group. I encourage all of you, and again, thank you very much for coming tonight.
I know.